Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to APCORE 2022 Virtual International Conference. Themes: Hybridity in the New Reality, Sustainable Research, Inclusive Pedagogical Spaces and Practices. So we are in the parallel session in Business and Finance. First of all, let me introduce our session chairs. We have Prof. Meckmack Nartea from Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Let me introduce him to you all. He is a faculty researcher of College of Business Administration. He holds a Master in Management major in Business Management from the University of the Philippines, Manila. Currently, he is a lecturer at the Graduate Studies of College of Business Administration and a managing editor of Kalakalan, a business review journal. His area of interest includes organizational development, consumer behavior, business management, marketing, management, and events management. He published 9 research papers indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, and peer-reviewed journal. He served as a reviewer of several business and social science journals. Mr. Prof. Meck, would you like to say something?
All right, so thank you, Dr. Indra. To introduce our overall session chair for this parallel session, our session chair is none other than Associate Professor Dr. Indra Muis. Dr. Indra Muis is a faculty and a faculty researcher of Bina, Insani University. He holds a doctoral degree in management major in marketing management from Pasundan University, Bandung, Indonesia. Currently, he is the officiating as the president at Bina Insani University, Bakasi, West Java Province, Indonesia. His areas of interest include strategic marketing. He published 3 books in strategic marketing and 23 research papers indexed in Google Scholar. He serves as a reviewer of several business and social science proceedings. Let us welcome our session chair, Associate Professor Dr. Indra Muis.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Prof. Meck. Then I would like to give you opportunity to say a few rules to our participants today.
I believe our participants are too much excited to share.
I'm on the show now.
To share their research studies and findings. No? So before we start, let me remind everybody that the presentation is limited only for 15 minutes, and the question and answer will be proceeding a question and answer after the presentation. And then the Q&A will be facilitated by our session chair, which is Dr. Indra. And then the audience and other co-presenters can ask questions using the chat box or chat features, which will be read by our moderator. And then the recording of presentation is allowed also, and make sure that you are in all places free of noise so that we can avoid disruption of the presentation. And then lastly, to help the presenter give presentation that is served by not talking, eating, drinking, or engaging in activities that are uncalled during the presentation. Kindly please take note of those guidelines. Dr. Indra?
Thank you, Prof. Meck. Then I continue. This is the order of our presentation for today. The first one is Kai Ann Marie P. Balingit from Abra State Institute of Sciences and Technology. The title of the presentation or the papers is Farmers' Perception on Cooperative Membership, Case Study in Lagagilang Abra. And second performance will be Gina V. F. Dapula from UST AMV College of Accountancy. And the title is the Community Development Programs of the UST AMV COA in the New Normal. The next performance will be Annalyn V. Inarda from University of Result System Rodriguez. The title of the paper is Promoting Outcomes-Based Instructional Materials, Testing the Effectiveness of the Print Modules for Business Student. The next performance will be Josefa Angelica P. Kabuang from University of Baguio. Then the presentation, the title of the presentation is Content Analysis of Online Complaints Towards Hotels in Baguio City, Philippines. The next presentation is Ali Zainal Abedin Lingga from Mindanao State University, Marawi City. The title of the presentation is Super Warm and Super Warm Based Food Product Marketing Opportunities and Challenges. The next presenter will be Jocelyn Y. Kamalik from Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila. The title of the papers is Factors Affecting the Viability of Virtual Tourism. The next presenter will be Rovena E. Delova from Lyceum of the Philippine University, Manila, and the title of the paper is Philippines Pop as Potential Catalyst, Filipino Fans Perception as a Basis for Tourism Promotion. And then the next presenter will be Diaz Dado L. Kabiling Jr. from Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila. And the title of the presentation is Effectiveness of Social Media Platform in Promoting Tourism and Hospitality Industry in Manila City, a Proposed Marketing Strategy. The next presenter will be Maria Cristal S. Perez from Technological Institutes of the Philippines, Quezon City. And the title of the presentation is Assessing Financial Literacy and Financial Performance of Baguio Garment Center Micro Entities Correlational Studies. The next presenter will be Fon Ariel C. Morano from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City. And the title of the papers is Competencies and Perceived Acumen of Accounting Staff in the Internal Control Effectiveness Regarding Public Fund Management in Metro Manila City Halls, a Correlational Predictive Studies. And the last presenter will be Chimuel G. Malaluan from Batangas State University, the National Engineering University. And the title of the paper is Impact of Liquidity Management to Profitability Among Small Enterprises in Lemery, Batangas. Well, Prof. Mac, this is the order of the presentation in business finance. Then it's time for our presenters to make presentation. Then the first presenter for tonight, the floor, for this afternoon, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Good afternoon.
Yes po. Allow me to share my screen, sir.
Yes, you may share. Right, you can start.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Kay Anne Marie P. Balingit from the Abra State Institute of Sciences and Technology. And I am going to present the study entitled Farmers' Perception on Cooperative Membership Case Study in Lagangilang, Abra. To start with, the Republic Act 6938, also known as the Cooperative Code of the Philippines, which governs cooperatives, states that its goal is to encourage the formation and expansion of
Strategic marketing, and 23 research papers indexed in Google
No,
Scholar.
I've already entered
He
this.
serves as a reviewer of several business and social science proceedings. So, to welcome us, let us welcome also our session chair, Associate Professor Dr. Indra Muis.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prof. Meck. Then I would like to give you opportunity to say a few rules to our participant today.
I believe our participants are too much excited to share.
I'm on the show now.
To share their research studies and findings. No, so before we start, let me remind everybody that the presentation is limited only for 15 minutes, and the question and answer will be proceeding a question and answer after the presentation. And then the Q&A will be facilitated by our session chair, which is Dr. Indra. And then the audience and other co-presenters can ask questions using the chat box or chat features, which will be read by our moderator. And then the recording of presentation is allowed also, and make sure that you are in all place free of noise so that we can avoid disruption of the presentation. And then lastly, to help the presenter give presentation that deserve by not talking, eating, drinking, or engaging in activities that are uncalled during the presentation. Kindly please take note of those guidelines. Dr. Indra?
Thank you, Prof. Meck. Then I continue. This is the order of our presentation for today. The first one is Kay Anne Marie P. Balingit from Abra State Institute of Sciences and Technology. The title of the presentation or the papers is Farmers' Perception on Cooperative Membership, Case Study in Lagagilang, Abra. And second performance will be Gina V. F. Dapula from UST AMV College of Accountancy. And the title is the Community Development Programs of the UST AMV COA in the New Normal. The next performance will be Annalyn V. Inarda from University of Result System Rodriguez. The title of the paper is Promoting Outcomes-Based Instructional Materials, Testing the Effectiveness of the Print Modules for Business Student. The next performance will be Josefa Angelica P. Kabuang from University of Baguio. Then the presentation, the title of the presentation is Content Analysis of Online Complaints Towards Hotels in Baguio City, Philippines. The next presentation is Ali Zainal Abedin Lingga from Mindanao State University, Marawi City. The title of the presentation is Super Warm and Super Warm Based Food Product Marketing Opportunities and Challenges. The next presenter will be Jocelyn Y. Kamalik from Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila. The title of the papers is Factors Affecting the Viability of Virtual Tourism. The next presenter will be Rovena E. Delova from Lyceum of the Philippine University, Manila. And the title of the paper is Philippines Pop as Potential Catalyst, Filipino Fans Perception as a Basis for Tourism Promotion. And then the next presenter will be Diosdado L. Kabiling Jr. from Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila. And the title of the presentation is Effectiveness of Social Media Platform in Promoting Tourism and Hospitality Industry in Manila City, a Proposed Marketing Strategy. The next presenter will be Maria Cristal S. Perez from Technological Institutes of the Philippines, Quezon City. And the title of the presentation is Assessing Financial Literacy and Financial Performance of Baguio Garment Center Micro Entities Correlational Studies. The next presenter will be Fon Ariel C. Morano from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City. And the title of the papers is Competencies and Perceived Acumen of Accounting Staff in the Internal Control Effectiveness regarding Public Fund Management in Metro Manila City Halls, a Correlational Predictive Studies. And the last presenter will be Chimuel G. Malaluan from Batangas State University, the National Engineering University. And the title of the paper is Impact of Liquidity Management to Profitability Among Small Enterprises in Lemery, Batangas. Well, Prof. Mac, this is the order of the presentation in business finance. Then it's time for our presenters to make presentation. Then the first presenter for tonight, the floor, for this afternoon, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Good afternoon.
Yes po. Allow me to share my screen, sir.
Yes, you may share. Right, you can start.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
Kay Anne-Marie P. Balingit from the Abra State Institute of Sciences and Technology. And I am going to present the study entitled Farmers' Perception on Cooperative Membership Case Study in Lagangidang, Abra. To start with, the Republic Act 6938, also known as the Cooperative Code of the Philippines, which governs cooperatives, states that its goal is to encourage the formation and expansion of cooperatives as a useful tool for fostering self-reliance and mobilizing populace power for the advancement of social justice and economic development. The General Assembly of the Abra Diocesan Teachers and Employees Multipurpose Cooperative, an agricultural-based multipurpose cooperative here in Abra, decided to open the APCORE membership to any Abra resident with visible sources of income, given that the Board of Directors must approve the membership application. APCORE aspires to empower its members financially and non-financially. Aside from savings and investment, loan packages, business enterprise, social and community services, ATEMCO has business development services. It was introduced to help microfinance members become full-fledged entrepreneurs, moving away from the traditional business model. The Integrated Farming System, or IFS, and Smart Agriculture are two core services under the BDS. Through this approach, farmers increased their productivity and built a sustainable market niche. ATEMCO Lagangilang branch, one of ATEMCO's 14 branches, also offers the IFS, focusing on finance, operations, and investing to produce operational and financial estimates based on the IFS and social business paradigm. ATEMCO's IFS aspires to create full-time farmers with competitive pay. It will also address pricing security and stability. The IFS include vegetable farming, livestock farming, aquaculture, and other income-generating operations. This aims to help farming become a family business and a means of production. However, 3.28% of ATEMCO Lagangilang members identified as farmers. This data is based on the estimation of the IFS coordinator in the municipality, which was presented during their semi-annual meeting of 2022. Because the cooperative services benefit the province agricultural business, farmers should be encouraged to join. Thus, this study seeks to explore farmers' perception of co-op membership. These study findings will help ATEMCO and educational institutions reach rural farmers with accurate information about cooperatives and how to benefit from cooperative activities. For the research objectives, generally, the study aims to learn how farmers in Lagangilang Abra are motivated to participate in the cooperative. Specifically, it aims to understand why farmers in Lagangilang joined or did not join cooperative societies, to evaluate the farmers' need for cooperatives, to identify obstacles to cooperative expansion, and to determine measures to encourage farmer participation. In order to gather data to comprehensively describe a condition or population, the study employed a descriptive research approach. The study was conducted in Lagangilang Abra. The study was carried out in Poblacion, Laang, Balais, Presentar, and Nagsayangan, 5 barangays in Lagangilang that are near to the Abra Diocesan teachers and employees multi-purpose cooperatives. 20 farmers from each barangay made up the study sample of 100 farmers. The sample was obtained using snowballing and purposive sampling. Structured surveys, in-person interviews, and focus group discussions were the main methods used to collect data. The survey was examined using frequencies, percentages, and rankings. For the results and discussion, only 12% of the 100 farmers who were questioned were ATEMCO members. 83% of respondents said that they heard of the cooperative but were not sure if they wanted to join. The final 5% of the respondents were either not ATEMCO members or were unaware of them. It is important to provide additional incentives for farmers in Lagangilang Abra to learn about cooperatives. Of the respondents, 64 were men and 36% were women. The majority of the respondents, which is 41%, were 46 to 50 years old. While 27% of the respondents reported having no formal education, 20% had graduated from elementary, 35% graduated from high school, and 18% were college graduates. This rate of intellectual awakening among the respondents may account for their knowledge about the cooperative. For the farmers' reason for joining or not joining cooperatives, about 2% of the respondents enrolled in cooperatives to receive assistance. 7% of farmers joined cooperatives to buy farm inputs and other consumables, while 3% joined to sell their produce. When asked why they didn't join, nearly 45% of those who knew about cooperatives said they didn't think they could solve their farming problems. 38% said they did not trust the cooperative's economic development initiatives. The question of why respondents joined or did not join cooperatives received a wide range of responses. They range from a response to government authorities who made membership in a cooperative requirement for getting loans and other types of aid like farming, marketing, and input purchases. Others made the decision not to join cooperative because they had limited idea about the co-op or did not think it could aid in the problem solving in their farm. In terms of the needs of cooperative members, when asked what benefit cooperative members receive through the ATEMCO, the following responses were given as shown in the figure. About 8% of the cooperative's respondent received various loans from the cooperative in form of credit. 67% bought agricultural inputs at a discount, and 25% received assistance from the cooperatives in selling their farm products. Cooperative group members received assistance from the ATEMCO. Therefore, if more farmers join cooperative organizations, a larger proportion of them might be able to take use of the aforementioned advantages as well as the others. Significant problems cited including the inadequate cooperation education, poor management of existing cooperative society, illiteracy, political unrest, past due loans, a lack of support for existing cooperative societies, disruptive projects, and the diversion of farm inputs intended for everyone by few and unfulfilled government promises. Farmers sometimes have their own enterprises or other endeavors, thus there is a minimal cooperative participation. Many members of the cooperative only devote a minimal amount of time to cooperative activities because it is frequently not their primary source of income. Cooperative education is crucial for cooperative development. The most often cited issues management had to deal with during the past year were the poor commodity prices, the agricultural economy, operational challenges, and rising costs across all cooperatives. The labor slim profit margin, competition, and weather were among the secondary issues. So for the conclusion and recommendation, first, the majority of respondents were unaware of cooperatives, and those who were aware perceived ATEMCO as an autonomous corporate organization. Second, farmers who join cooperative organizations can avail of the benefit of the cooperative, such as the assistance for farm production. Third, often farmers have individual businesses and other activities, so there is limited participation in the cooperative. And the last one, the results demonstrate the need for greater government and cooperative movement investment in cooperative education. For the recommendations, to entice farmers to join multi-purpose cooperatives, a grassroots re-education campaign should be undertaken. The Cooperative Training Institute should create outreach initiatives to provide local farmers with the required cooperative training. This instruction should emphasize that cooperatives are primary business organizations rather than governmental bodies. The formation of cooperatives as voluntary groupings among people to pursue members' mutually beneficial social and economic interests should be emphasized in order to promote cooperatives. Government involvement in cooperatives should be restricted to creating favorable conditions for their success. To assume responsibilities that the government has historically carried out, the cooperative movement in the municipality needs to be strengthened and repositioned. With that, so these are my contact details, and I would like to say thank you, and in Ilocano, it is Agyamanak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Balingit. Now, everyone, it's time for us to ask questions. Just in case you have question, do not hesitate to ask. Please, you can ask your question. Okay, Prof. Meck, would you like to say something?
Dr. Indra, can we finish first all the presentations, and then we can proceed to the Q&A so that we can observe the time.
Okay.
So instead of Q&A first, then we will move on to the second presenter.
Okay.
All
I
right.
agree with that. So we proceed to the second presenter, right? Okay, I would like to invite Gina F. Dapula, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Assoc Prof.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Indra.
Good afternoon. The
Can I
floor is
share my
yours now.
can I share my screen, sir?
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
I'm Miss
afternoon.
Gina Dapula, together with my co-author, Miss Melba Matula, our Community Development Coordinator, and we are from the UST Alfredo M. Villayo College of Accountancy. Last December 2019, the world has been shocked by a new virus called COVID-19. And according to the World Health Organization, the unexpected spread of the virus around the world has brought significant impact and is considered a top global economic risk. The pandemic brought massive devastations to the different levels of society, especially in the countryside. In relation to this, we are going to present our study entitled The Community Development Programs of the UST Alfredo M. Villayo College of Accountancy in the New Normal. Community Development Program has played an important role in the improvement of marginalized communities as a primary instrument of change. The programs conducted in the community is a process of transforming the society for the long-term impact in their lives. In the Philippines, the initiatives of private and public institutions in the community is a commitment towards their empowerment and development to ensure their welfare. These institutions serve as facilitators to transform and revitalize partner communities whose development needs should be prioritized. However, in these challenging times, communities in the countryside encounter the threat of surviving to meet their basic needs. In 2020, the pandemic prompted the university to conduct virtual and web-based programs in partner communities. That is why the university informed each colleges to create safety protocols in implementing the programs in their partner communities. Now, due to the health crisis, there is a need to continue the extension projects and service delivery using innovative approaches. In other countries, television and hard copy teaching resources has been used to engage parents and students in learning. Since there have been limited number of studies on the outreach programs of the institution in the context of the pandemic in the Philippines, the researchers would like to add further knowledge on the community development programs of the UST Alfredo M. Villayo College of Accountancy during the academic year 2021-2022. This study aims to address the following research questions. First, who are the partner communities of the UST AMV College of Accountancy during the academic year 2021-2022? What are the community development programs conducted in these communities during the academic year 2021-2022? How many community development programs were conducted in these communities during the academic year 2021-2022? And what is the total number of participants for community development program in the communities during the academic year 2021-2022? The study employed a descriptive research design. In this study, the researchers focus on the community development programs of the UST Alfredo M. Villayo College of Accountancy during the academic year 2021-2022. The data for this study were taken from the Community Development Annual Report of the college during the given year. The annual report is a summary of the terminal report, expense report, and reflections of partner communities who attended the programs implemented by the college during the given year. Now for the research findings, who are the partner communities of the UST AMV College of Accountancy for the academic year 2021-2022. Now during that time, the college has served 4 partner communities, namely in Barangay San Juan Laur, Nueva Ecija, Santissima Trinidad Parish in Malolos, Bulacan, Barihan Elementary School in Malolos, Bulacan, and in Baliwag, Bulacan. Second question, what are the community development programs conducted in these communities? The programs conducted by the college are the following. 1, we have the health programs, followed by the employability and social enterprise program, organizational development program, and educational program. How many community development programs were conducted during the academic year 2021-2022? For the health programs, the college conducted 2 health programs, 4 employability and social enterprise program, 2 organizational development programs, and 7 educational programs. Next, what are the total number of participants per community development program? For the health programs, 40 participants participated. 54 participants participated in the education programs of the college. 126 participants participated in the employability and social enterprise development, and 80 participants participated in the organizational development programs of the college during the academic year 2021-2022. Summary, conclusions, and recommendations. This study summarized the community development programs of the UST AMV College of Accountancy during the academic year 2021-2022. The findings of the qualitative study revealed the partner communities served by the college, namely Barangay San Juan Laur in Nueva Ecija, Barangay Baliwag in Bulacan, Barangay Santissima Trinidad Parish, and Barihan Elementary School, both in Malolos City, Bulacan. The results of the study revealed the 4 outreach programs conducted by the college. These include the health, education, employability, and social enterprise and organizational development programs. The above findings demonstrates the commitment of the college to community upliftment and social change in these challenging times. This is consistent with the study of Pizana, Pogo, and Pentang that there is a need to continue the extension projects and service delivery using innovative approaches. The findings highlight the need to maintain close coordination and monitoring in these communities to ensure the sustainability and continuity of the programs. These activities have become an avenue for the communities to stay healthy and look for ways to earn a living. The study is significant to policymakers and institutions in creating capacity building programs focused on the community's health and wellness, education, employability and social enterprise programs, and organizational development program of partner communities in the countryside amidst the pandemic. Moreover, empirical research is needed to provide more in-depth knowledge about the impact of community development programs in these communities. That ends our presentation for today together with my co-author, Mamelba Matula. To God be the glory and maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Ms. Dapula. And we come to the next presentation. Let me check. The next one is Annalyn V. Inarda. Annalyn V. Inarda, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible, sir?
Good afternoon.
Okay, so please allow me to share my screen, please.
You are free to share.
Okay, but there is someone who is okay.
Right.
So once again, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to present my recorded presentation on my the output of my research. Good day, everyone. I am Annalyn Inarda from the University of Rizal System College of Business and Graduate School. And I'm about to present a completed paper titled Promoting Outcomes-Based Instructional Materials, Testing the Effectiveness of Print Modules for Business Students. Education system approaches are rapidly changing, and its dynamics have been evident for the past years. It has continuously evolved through passing dramatic breakthroughs brought about by countless periods of environmental and technological changes. Similarly, there has been an issue about the quality of business graduates university produced, which include, but not limited to skills gaps, quality of instructional materials, quality of teachers, and industry collaboration according to Campbell 2018 and within 2021. To cope with these transformations, emphasizing 21st century learning planning and thinking, higher education in the Philippines has prompted and encouraged ingenuities since educational innovations, which include competency-based learning and a more student-centered, aims to increase and improve knowledge application. A key insight that has been taken away that educators recognize the way that they can contribute, and one of which is producing print and digital learning materials. Teachers have a huge role on how students will acquire learning. In like manner, one has to illustrate strategies and write materials to aid the success of knowledge transference. Evidently, production of quality instructional materials has been very useful when COVID-19 pandemic struck. The subject human resource management is taught to business students, particularly Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, in accordance with Memorandum Order Number 17, Series of 2017. This issuance allows that all higher education in the Philippines, with the offering of PSP program, are ordered to shift to an outcomes-based approach that focuses and organizes the educational system around what is essential for all learners to know, value, and able to achieve the desired level of competence. The researcher has been teaching the subject for so many years and has developed an instructional material that is grounded from an outcomes-based syllabus, which composed of 8 modules, the first in our university. In order to meet the objectives of the study, the following research questions have been answered. There are 3 research questions in the study. The first one is, what are the mean scores of the experimental and control group on their pre-test and post-test? The second question is, the results of the mean scores of the experimental group differ based on their pre-test and post-test? And the third one, does significant difference exist on the mean scores of the experimental and control group as revealed by their post-test results? In order to come up with a reliable results, the following design and methods have been used in the study. This work is developmental research. It used pre-test, post-test control group design to test the effectiveness of the developed modules. CMO number 17, series of 2017, was the basis for making the outcomes-based syllabus, where contents of human resource management modules are patterned. establish the instructional goals, identify the objectives, coverage, contents, format structure, and assessment for each module. A teacher-made test, which is a 50-item multiple choice test, was made and utilized in the study to measure the mean score performance of the student respondents on the pre and post test. This test is based on the contents of the developed modules. Table of classification has been made before making the test, pattern in the contents of the module, and the approved course syllabus of the subject. It underwent item analysis, which established the indiscrimination of ranges from 0.2 to 0.58 and difficulty ranges from 0.2 to 0.7. Likewise, it was subjected to expert validation and tested the reliability. The instrument had been pilot tested to another set of business students who are not part of the actual study with a result of 0.979 interpreted as very high reliable using Spearman rule. The pretest was utilized to assess the previous knowledge of the control and experimental group before the experiment, while post-test was also given to the same group after the materials were utilized by the experimental group only. A guide question has been made based on the results of the quantitative findings. It contains 4 central questions. This was content validated by experts and were asked to business students who are not part of the study as to how they would answer the given questions. Feedbacks have been analyzed and suggestions were considered before the instrument is utilized to 10 participants from the experimental group. The respondents composed of 80 students enrolled in the subject HRM for first semester 2021-2022, randomly selected and classified such financial management as experimental group and marketing management as the control group before the pre-test. The selection bias had been considered and both groups belong to first year. After the quantitative findings have been established, a phenomenological transcendental interview was conducted to selected participants to methodologically triangulate the results of the numerical data, SPSS version 26, the quantitative data, and thematic analysis for qualitative data. The next presentation will reveal the findings of the study. Both control and experimental group displayed a yield on their performances in the scores. However, the experimental has a higher increase compared to the control in all areas, except topic number 8, which is a glimpse on human resource management in the Philippine government context. The control group obtained high gate score in topic 8, which may be attributed to history, in which experimental group have experienced difficulty on their schedules, since they have to complete all the required activities, resulting to giving less attention to the contents of the last module. As student remarked, I quote, "We have trouble managing our schedules ending the semester. I have several subjects enrolled and all professors gave bulk of requirements." The results, or comparing the results, the idea is taken that the utilization of the modules by the experimental group realized notable increase in their performance due to their exposure to the materials. Other themes emerged in question 1 are enthusiasm and guide in learning. As students quote, "When I saw the modules, it is something different. I have this feeling that I can learn more on the subject because it is arranged in a sequential manner. Next, I am sure that the modules help me learn a lot on the course because of the contents and that are arranged well and full of useful ideas." The interview supports the idea that the modules developed and utilized is found to be valuable, so students can easily clench of what is being explained on the fun topics to be learned. Thus, aid in addressing the competence to be developed, which is a positive influence on the learning outcomes. For research question number 2, the study revealed that the presence of the instructional materials means that the students have ample opportunities to learn the subject, which is relevant to the course taken. It can further infer that students achieve better after the use of the modules. Being taught with materials leads to better performance. This aids the students to learn the subject understandably, hence substantiates learning. The results were in between and expanded by the interview conducted. There is knowledge concentration since the contents are well planned and it leads to retaining information and students who are not exhausted answering all the topics at once. As confirmatory statements include, I quote, the modules are useful. We are not confused on the details of every topic. We are guided, end quote. And I quote, there is focus on the competencies we need to learn since detail of the topics are well written in the modules, end quote. Moreover, the participants reiterated that modules are user-friendly, which helps so they can easily know what is meant by the topic. Students use the module at their own pace and at times without the assistance of the teacher. Therefore, it is paramount concern that it's easy to understand and comprehend. Hypothesis of reject except on topic number 8. The 7 modules utilized of the experimental group significantly improve the performance. It is emphasized that making use of the modules influence the learning acquisition. The experimental group obtained higher process scores than the control group. Hence, the effectiveness of the materials of the experimental and control group, given that the former has been involved in utilizing the modules. Being exposed to teaching aid is indispensable in increasing the performance of students. Thus, it will be very helpful in pairing the learners acquire the essential competencies. On the other hand, the interview disclosed the reason that COSTA scores of topic 8 for experimental group is lower than the control group. Tightness of schedules due to ending semester. Hence, the number of activities to be submitted by the students have affected their concentration on the contents of the last module. This revealed one of the pitfalls of utilizing modules and letting students set their own goals and learning pace. They were not able to manage their time, resulting to not being able to post or focus on the last topic. The module have been evidently useful for students to utilize and enhance learning. This supports conducted studies on the use of instructional materials. The modules, which are the output of the study, underwent review by technical experts and have been approved for selling and utilization by our university. And currently, it is being utilized in the subject Human Resource Management, and the completed paper was submitted to a Scopus Index journal for publication. For the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, for the conclusion, these instructional materials are a significant tool in inviting the enthusiasm of business students to engage in learning to address the need of the industry. It maximizes motivation and participation since topics are well planned, designed comprehensively, and knowledge learned is applied. The elements of effective, user-friendly, and easy to comprehend instructional materials are of paramount importance in its development. It is significantly considered by the students and commands their assent and understanding of the materials to be utilized. Furthermore, both modules cultivate further knowledge, which leans on increasing students' performance after being exposed to the materials independently defining their learning pace. Various methodologies to establish consistent and conclusive evidence are useful in testing the effectiveness of instructional materials. Finally, learning materials are a valuable tool to encourage independent learning without sacrificing the competencies to be learned and applied by business learners. For the recommendations of the study, first is Filipino teachers of business courses are joined in this venture to help increase the number of outcomes-based instructional materials, thereby systematically addressing the competencies required of the course. Second, an additional number of expert evaluators might be considered to carefully scrutinize the module in many aspects. Third, the material had helped the students to set their learning modes. Therefore, periodic revisions of the module should be done to continuously serve its purpose for Filipino business learners. And lastly, the instructional tool might be of big help to the business students of our university. In essence, the curriculum office might endorse it for utilization after proper review, revision, and registration had been made. And notably, it has been realized. Hello, educators and researchers. These are my contact details. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig at mabuhay tayong mga faculty researchers. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Indra. for the presentation. Then the question and answer will be conducted at the end of this presentation. Now we would like to invite the next presenter for today. Josefa Angelica P. Kabuang. Ms. Kabuang, the floor is yours now.
Okay, thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Indra Muis. Good afternoon to everyone, to my co-presenters, and to the audience here in APCORE Convention. Now, my research title is Content Analysis of Online Complaints Regarding Hotels in Baguio City. For today, I will be the one presenting, but this research was conducted alongside with the lead researcher, Ma'am Jennifer Goros-Pesese. We are both from University of Baguio, Baguio City, Benguet, Philippines. Now, to move forward and start my presentation, guests have highly used the internet in bookings. Hotel guests also use it as a venue for airing complaints. The content of hotel reviews affects, in one way or the other, their preference in hotel bookings. Actually, in the year 2015, Memar Zadeh and Chang argued that establishments that have not fulfilled the guest expectation would have problems because of the negative word-of-mouth diffusion arising from dissatisfied customers. In 2011, Shea, Miao, Q, and Lee stated that in terms of consumer behavior, the negative reviews of previous guests are more likely to have a more significant impact on hotels. This current study was proposed for two main reasons. First, the majority of the previous studies were conducted in an international setting. For London, in London, it's under Connor 2010, in Jordan, Dinser and Al-Wardi in 2017, so on and so forth. There are very few or almost to none research that is existing here in our locality. Second of all, the previous research states that assessing online complaints is vital since the negative word of mouth and the growing number of hotel complaints posted by the guests affect the hotel's reputation. So the research gap that we are trying to address here is knowledge gap. Then the researchers were able to formulate a conceptual framework. So the conceptual framework starts with the online complaints. Then these two, the online complaints will be divided into the content of the complaint and the managerial response. Under the content of the complaint, this will be separated under concerned hotel departments and will be further scrutinized into tangibles, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy, and price. These are serve qual dimensions. Then to the specific complaints. As for the managerial response, the online complaints were further divided into no response, negative response, and service recovery response. In the instance that the comment is under service recovery response, then we are going to classify it under if the managers acknowledge the problem, did they apologize, did they provide solution, did they invite the guest to come back, and lastly, did they provided follow-up. Then all of this data will be subjected to content analysis, then to complaint response pattern. Then with the complaint response pattern, the research was able to recommend handling on online complaints. And it's the intention that the hotels and accommodation will have improved service recovery, and hence the end result of this research would be having customer delight. Specifically, the objective of the study are the following. First is to determine the most common complaints received online by DOT accredited resorts and major hotels in Camp John Hay under A, hotel department, then under B, modified serve-qual dimension. Second of which, to identify the managerial response of hotels to negative online complaints. And lastly, to create a complaint response pattern for negative online complaints. Now, how did we conduct this research? Let me present to you the research methodology. This study used qualitative and descriptive research using content analysis on complaints and as well the managerial responses for the hotel establishment. The main inclusion criteria on selecting of which hotel establishment that would participate in our research would be, first of all, the accommodation establishment, number one, should be a DOT accredited resort. Second, the accommodation establishment should be a major hotel located in Camp John Hay. As an exclusion criteria, who did we not invite in this research paper? We did not invite or include anymore pension houses, motels, transient houses, and other types of hotels outside Camp John Hay were excluded in this study. Now, the content analysis was extracted from the complaints posted in TripAdvisor. For the last 12 months, from the approval of this proposal, so the data gathering is 1 year from January to December of 2019. Total enumeration are all of the comments of the negative comments from the resorts and the major hotel establishment in Camp John Hay was utilized, collected, and analyzed. To ensure that the data are valid, a manual coding process was done to cluster and identify the content of the complaint. Data was read and reread to make sure that the results were congruent to the source of data. In terms of the ethical aspect of this research, we were able to identify the risk as limited to minimal risk, wherein an additional safeguard for maintaining privacy and confidentiality of information similar to coding. So we did not expose any names or even the names of the establishment, and a separation of data files for identifiers and responses. All right, so let's proceed now to the research finding. The study analyzed 4 accommodation establishments, which are coded as HA, HB, HC, HD. A total of 241 reviews from guests were recorded. The reviews posted by the guests are both positive and negative experiences that were encountered during the hotel stay. And as observed, a guest review may include their appreciation from hotels, but also points out details that the guest finds to be needing attention. Other reviews are all appreciation, while others are entirely sharing about their negative experience. Now, as seen here in Table 2, of the 241 reviews, 85 or 35.27% contain negative feedback. Now, what does this imply? It implies that guests predominantly felt a degree of satisfaction in their hotel experience despite of the complaints. Now, several studies online complaints manifest a higher positive review than those expressing complaints. Although it is essential to note that the data should be approached with caution, since the affirmative assessment was based solely on comparing the percentage of positive and negative reviews without considering the gravity of the complaint. Moving on, Figure 2 shows the summary of extracted online complaints by hotel department. So the 85 guest reviews that contain negative feedback were further scrutinized, and the researchers extracted 165 different types of complaints. This is so since a guest may post an online review that contains complaints regarding different experiences during the duration of hotel stay. So for the purpose of this research, the administrative department was included for complaints that cannot be assigned to a particular department since the issue involves operational concerns, okay, for the entire hotel. So after carefully examining the reviews, okay, it was found that the housekeeping department received the most dominant complaint, okay, of 63 or 29.30. Although the complaints are relatively high, the nature of the complaint is generally the same amongst all the establishments. Okay, the commonly identifiable theme of housekeeping complaints, okay, is that the amenities are outdated inside the room. There is a delayed response to a request and inferior quality of cleaning. So several complaints are actually rooted in the reason that the hotel itself is already outdated, okay, which is manifested in the quality, usability, and performance of the amenities inside the hotel room. Now, I am presenting a evidence. I quote, "The rooms could use some updates," unquote. I quote again, "The room is outdated, even TV is so outdated." Okay, another, "Room very old, need renovation." Quote, "Lamp wasn't functioning." Now, these reviews that the hotel property can be improved with proper updating of its amenities and renovation. The reviews also reflected the disappointment of guests on housekeeping staff's quality of cleaning. This statement is evidenced by the reviews such as, I quote, "Carpet leaves some dirt and it looks it was not cleaned well," unquote. I quote again, "Towels had hair in it, asked to be replaced," okay, unquote. Now, these findings of this study is congruent with the study of Fernandez and Fernandez 2018, wherein rooms are the dominant complaint category. The mentioned study also suggests that the guest ratings on the evaluation of rooms represent a strong, significant correlation on how guests rate the hotel's overall performance. Now, the researchers noticed that the concerns on housekeeping are reasonable since the sleeping room is one of the main product offerings of hotel. It profounds the value of the efficiency of the housekeeping department. Now, moving on to the managerial response. As shown in Table 5, one particular hotel recorded as high as 81.16% of response rate, right over here. Okay, while another hotel did not even respond to any single negative reviews, so zero response. Now, this clearly indicates that not all of the hotel properties in this research have a similar management approach in e-complaints. According to Tabari 2017, due to guests relying on online reviews when booking a hotel, the hotel business needs to pay greater attention to the numerous unfavorable remarks made by customers via social media such as TripAdvisor. The result is also congruent with the study of Sacha 2011, where reliability showed highest gap between guest expectation and guest perception. All right, so the third objective of the study is to create a complaint response pattern for online complaints. Okay, as you can see here in figure 5, this shows the complaint response pattern for online complaints per serve qual dimension. So per serve qual dimension, the highest is reliability. Now, for the managerial response, the highest response would be inviting the guest to return. Okay, it is at the peak of every response. An invitation to return to the establishment can be considered actually an effective strategy to redress or recover from previous mistakes. Okay, in addition, most of the managerial response, second to inviting the guest to return, is the hotel's acknowledgement of the problem. Okay, so this means that the majority of the managerial response really does accept that there is an issue that needs to be addressed. It was also observed that in the managerial response, that they do recognize that there is an issue at hand, okay, but no apologies were given. Now, why is this the case? Okay, there is a new research conducted by Case Western Reserve University, this is 2019, that has discovered that apologies almost never had the desired effect we want. Surprisingly, angry customers report greater satisfaction when the employee skips the apology part altogether and just focus instead on finding an immediate solution. So you can see that also here in our research paper. One guest suggested that the restaurant food is pricey. As a managerial response, instead of giving an apology, the management replied as, I quote, "You might be interested to know that room and breakfast promos are available on our website. Okay, please feel free to visit our site for more exciting promos and packages." So what you can see here is accepting that there is an issue, skipping the apology part, but focusing on the solution. Another instance was when a guest complained about a slow internet connection. As a managerial response, instead of apologizing, the response was, I quote, "You might be interested to know that plans to upgrade Wi-Fi are already in place." Now, this management strategy is really acceptable because it deviates its attention to the problem, especially if the problem, which is the internet, it is really beyond our control. So the managerial response focuses on the other option or the solution itself. All right, so moving on to the summary, conclusion, and recommendation of this study. In conclusion, okay, most of the complaints may be resolved by upgrading, refurbishing, or remodeling the hotel's facilities and amenities. So meaning one action, okay, which is refurbishing, would eliminate a lot of customers' complaints. This means that decreasing complaints would entail a significant amount of budgetary outlay, since improving the hotel's physical property requires an increase in capital spending. Issues on reliability are easier to address, since this can be resolved as the management can modify and enhance the service process delivered by hotel employees. Okay, maybe it can be deduced also then that most of the complaints would be decreased with the enhancement of physical properties, okay, and improvement of resources. And yes, sir, the following are our recommendations.
Thank you.
Okay, our contact details are the following. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ms. Kabuang. And you can close your presentation. Now, for the next presenter, would like to invite Mr. Ali Zainal Abedin Lingga. Mr.
Hello, everyone.
Lingga, the floor is yours.
Doc.
Hello.
Please allow me to share my presentation, please.
Of course, of course.
Excuse me for a while. Excuse. Sorry for the inconvenience due to slow internet connection. Okay. A blessed day to each and everyone. Peace be with you all. In behalf of my co-author, allow me to present to this body the study of our superworm-based food product marketing opportunities and challenges. According to United Nations, the world population is expected to exceed 9 billion people. There are currently 1 billion hungry people worldwide. Insect, a strong source of protein, can help combat food insecurity and in hunger. It is which is still prevalent today. Entomophagy, or the consumption of edible insect as human food, is promoted by the Food and Agriculture Organization as a key solution to hunger and malnutrition because they can provide high amounts of protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals along with economic and environmental benefits. The popularity of entomophagy is increasing due to various studies conducted by research center along with the food industry, which made great contribution by considering insect as a latest food source. Commercial farming, processing, and marketing of edible insects are currently significant issues due to their long-term potential. When considering how insects are marketed as commercial goods, thought of oddities, novelty food, cuddly toys, strange adornments, and cartoon imagery spring to mind. Chips, bars, sauces, and protein powder made from insect are currently making their way onto the United States market through effective advertising. So venture capitalists are now paying attention to the insect food trend. The future of insect food market is predicted to grow from a few $1 million now to 60 million in 2023 and 1.5 billion globally by 2031, according to Birds et al. 2017. Insect eating festival were organized by MSU Marawi City, Philippines from 2012 to 2019 to encourage entomophagy. This incident sparked an increase in curiosity about human consumption of edible insects, including insect pests. The Commission on Higher Education provided funding to the same academic institution from 2018 to 2020 for a 2-year project to conduct research on mass production, processing, and promotion and marketing of superworm as food for Filipinos. As a result of this, entomophagy was greatly strengthened. Therefore, this study identifies the opportunities and challenges associated with marketing superworm and superworm-based food product. The research methodology. An online survey was conducted to determine the opportunities and challenges of marketing superworm and superworm-based food product out of 105 participants who attended the 9th Insect Eating Festival. The survey questionnaire include questions on entomophagy, disgust and phobias of eating insects, and the value of insects eating festivals in promoting entomophagy. The questionnaires' content validity was examined by entomophagy expert. They were not paid anything for their participation. Additional information was derived from consumer acceptance studies carried out with 550 respondents at Lower Campo Islam, Labangan, Zamboanga del Sur, Ramon Magsaysay Elementary School, MSU Main Campus, Marawi City, and MSU Buug at Zamboanga, Sibugay. The marketing analysis. One of the key components of marketing is gaining acceptance. In order to find out more, this research examined the market of superworm and food products derived from them. The study included both primary and secondary data for market analysis. The primary data was collected using key informant interviews and a descriptive design. Children at Esperanza Elementary School in Ramon Magsaysay, Zamboanga del Sur, and Lower Elementary School in Labangan, Zamboanga del Sur were asked if they were more likely to start eating insect, and a number of identified respondents from various colleges at Middle State University main campus and Middle State University Buog campus, Philippines, was also given a structural questionnaire. The research finding, demographics of online respondent. As shown in figure 1, 67.33% or the majority of participants were between the ages of 20 and 24, suggesting that they had the mental capacity to decide whether or not to accept entomophagy. They were cautioned against eating insect because doing so could result in adverse reaction like to those brought on by eating crustacean. During the Insect Eat Festival, saw more female attendees comprised of 57.43% than male attendees, which are 42.47%, and with Maranao tribe making up the majority of them, 63.7%. Entomophagy responses. Entomophagy was a topic that the majority of respondents, which is 55.5%, learned about it in lecture, while other 32.67% and 35.64% learned about it from friends and insect eating festivals respectively. All the experienced entomophobia and revulsion after the lecture, majority of respondents or 52.48% developed an interest in entomophagy. Respondents were prompted by curiosity when first asked to sample insect like fried superworm. The majority of respondents, or 74.26%, have overcome their entomophobia and revulsion and appreciate the value of insect as a source of protein as a result of hearing the lecture and attending the insect eating festival in figure 2. The survey results show that the entomophobia and disgust were decreased by proper education given during class lecture and at the beginning of each insect eating festival activities. Marketing of insect and insect-based food product through insect eating festival. From their inception in 2012 to 2019, the IEF have demonstrated that there is a market for edible insect in Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM and in several regions of the Philippines. Holding insect eating festivals enhance marketing for insect and insect-based food product. The first insect eating festival saw the marketing of insect-based culinary item, including the insect turon, the coyote bars in 2012. Respondents' demographic for marketing analysis. Figure shows that demographic characteristic of the participants of the present study. There were 311 male or 56.55% and 239 or 43.45% were female. 100 or 18.8% participants were children 5 to 12 years of age. 200 or 36.36% were in their teens from 13 to 20. 150 or 27.27% were in their adolescence 21 to 30s, and 100 or 18.18% were adult ages 31 to 50 and above. Regarding the participants' occupation, the majority of them, 280 or 50.21%, are college students. The effect of age and gender. Survey results reveal that there is a sweet spot, age of insect marketing, indicating that kids are more likely to view insect as food. The discovery that children between the age of 5 and 11 are more interested in eating insect as food support the theory that children consumer behavior begins in infancy and lasts until they are 12 years old, according to Bolginberg and Cantor, 2001. The results shows that gender affect market acceptance of superworm and superworm-based food product. Adolescent girls, unlike children, were less resistant to insect-based food than boys, despite adult women and men shows an equal willingness to pay for them, because they are more concerned with their health and because eating insect is promoted as healthy diet. Women are less likely to tolerate disgusted by visible insect part, but they still see insect as food. Male adults also adapt to consuming insect with minimal difficulty. Men and women may have different options toward the superworm-based food item as a result of the disparities in family structure and financial circumstances. Effect of education to promote entomophagy. Would education in school encourage children and students to be more willing to incorporate insect into their diet? According to Peterson et al. 2020, a design of an experiential learning lesson plan for university students experience in food, emphasizing the advantages of insect production and lowering the novelties of edible insect. They found that more exposure to eating insect and more education lead to an increase in the acceptance of insect as food. According to when the late former Secretary General of the United States, Kofi Annan, was interviewed for a cookbook about the eating of insect, he said, and I quote, "It is a question of education. Insect have a very good conversion from feed to meat. There is no way that we can sustain conventional livestock production environmental if we want to meet the needs of the growing human population." This demonstrates that educated consumers are readily embraced entomophagy as it's shown in the study. The majority of respondents, which is 50.21% in the insect eating festival, were college students. Therefore, educating people about eating insect could be a great way to start demonstrating that there are sustainable meat substitutes. Inclination to consumer superworm-based food products. According to the survey's result, 382 respondents, or 69.45%, food superworm and food items from them, whereas 168 respondents, or 30.55%, said they would not. This is an indication that there is a good chance that the product will be accepted by the target market of consumers who are willing to test food made from superworms. Out of 550 respondents, 197, or 35.82%, said they could consume superworm and superworm-based food products on a daily basis. 101, or 18.36%, said they would do so frequently. 147, or 25.82%, said they would do it occasionally. 67, or 12.18%, said they would do it rarely. And only 38, or 6.21%, said they would never do so. The findings suggest that consumers are more likely to accept a product if they are willing to regularly consume superworm-based food product. The superworm-based food products respondent choice and willing to pay of superworm-based food product. In terms of consumer choice, super brownies with 23%, muffin with 20%, crispy superworm with 17%, and super healthy pulveron with 12% were the next most preferred superworm-based food product after super chantilly lace with 28%. This result can be used to choose the optimal SBFP for next marketing. As a result, there is a good chance that people will look for the superworm-based food product. The willingness to pay analytical result was constructed using the respondents' responses. It reveals that 479, or 87% of the 550 respondents were willing to spend between 10 to 50 pesos for superworm-based food product, while 71 to 13% were willing to pay 51 or more. Further pricing for superworm and superworm-based food product prices can be based on these findings. Recommendation, conclusion, summary, conclusion, and recommendation. Most participants were persuaded to do so due to their curiosity and peer pressure. The challenges to entomophagy were entomophobia and revulsion, which manifest as altered facial expression, those eyelids, shivering, sweating, stiff-neck hair, chill, and vomiting. However, attending lecture and insect eating festival help to combat this manifestation, increase exposure to insect eating festival and proper education lead to a rise in the acceptance of eating insect as food. Acceptance of superworm and food product derived from superworm is based on taste. The most popular superworm-based food products were super chantilly lay, super brownies, super chocolate muffin, crispy superworm, and super healthy pulveron. They are willing to spend between 10 to 50 pesos on superworm and superworm-based food product. The overall result of this study indisputably forecasts a bright future and a robust market for insect and insect-based food product in the Philippines. This is Professor Ali Zainal Abedin Linga, together with Dr. Emma M. Sabado and Engineer Shane Linga from the College of Agriculture, Mindanao State University, Marawi City, in Visayan. Daghang salamat sa inyong tanan and good afternoon.
Thank you, Professor Linga, Ali Zainal Abedin Linga from Mindanao State University, Marawi City. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to invite the next presenter, Jocelyn Y. Kamalik from Lyceum of the Philippines University, Manila. Ms. Kamalik, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, sir. I have correction for regards to the name of the presenter, Dr. Jocelyn Y. Kamalik. I'll be the one who present po. Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to share my presentation. To begin with, I would like to greet every one of you a pleasant afternoon. I am Crystal Kate B. Acosta from the College of International Tourism and Hospitality Management from Lyceum of the Philippines, University, Manila. Our research paper entitled "The Factors Affecting the Viability of Virtual Tourism in the Philippines." The world has entered the information era due to the rise of digitalization, and tourism has become the forefront of these developments. Virtual tourism is known an immersive experience made possible by the internet and technology. It utilizes technology tools such as the virtual reality or VR through headsets and augmented reality or AR through mobile phones, video, or camera viewers. Through modernization, Philippines continuously tries to become accustomed to innovations and gradually upscale its service to tourists. Moving forward for research problem or objectives, the study aimed to assess the viability of virtual tourism in the Philippines and to determine the factors affecting viability of virtual tourism in the Philippines. For our research methodology, it is a quantitative type of research and utilizing the causal research design. For population, sample size, and sampling technique, tourists visited an attraction and or destination in the Philippines were the respondents of the study. To facilitate the PLSM analysis, the research sample size was 144, calculated using the G-Power 3.0 software program. As the study utilized the purposive sampling technique, the following qualifiers were used to determine the respondents. First, at least 18 years of age, and second, visited an attraction and or destination in the Philippines. Here are the research findings. For the demographic profile of the respondents, in terms of gender, people who visited an attraction and or destination in the Philippines are dominated by a female with 68.75%. In terms of age, most of the respondents are within the age bracket of 18 to 24 years old with 86.81%. And for the nationality, majority of the respondents are Filipino citizens with 99.31%. And as the study utilized the PLSM method, convergent validity and reliability tests were included. As you can see in our presentation, most of the coefficients of composite reliability and convex alpha in the perceived benefits of virtual tourism, perceived challenges of virtual tourism, and viability of virtual tourism in the Philippines to tourists are 0.9, and it implied that all values are higher than 0.7 and thus are highly reliable. Furthermore, to examine the effectiveness and robustness of the measurement model, both reliability and validity tests were utilized. It shows that the discriminant validity using the Ferner-Likert criterion showed that diagonal values are greater than any of the values to their left in the same row, and it implied that studies have discriminant validity and constructs are differ from one another. For the summary of hypothesis testing, for the perceived benefit factors of virtual tourism, we have PU, or perceived usefulness, POU, or perceived ease of usefulness, TM, tourist motivation, PRO, promotion, SUST, sustainability. It shows that in the perceived benefits of virtual tourism, perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, and sustainability are only the perceived benefit factors that were found positive significant effect on the viability of virtual tourism in the Philippines. On the other hand, for the perceived challenges factors of virtual tourism, we have the SI, or social interaction, SEC, or security, and AV, or navigation. And it shows that only the security and navigation were found positive significant effect on the viability of virtual tourism in the Philippines. Moving forward for the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, virtual tourism is viable in the Philippines. However, its viability may be affected by the following factors, such as for the perceived benefits, we have the perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, and sustainability. On the other hand, for the perceived challenges of virtual tourism, we have the perceived security and navigation. For the recommendations, the destination and tourism planners should take into consideration the indicators such as the perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, sustainability, security, navigation when planning for the use of virtual tourism to ensure its success. Furthermore, future research studies exploring the tourist behavioral factors, country's financial capability, and cultural factors were recommended. For our conduct details, that will be all at the end of my presentation. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for the presentation. Now we can continue the presentation for our next presenter. Sorry.
Good day, everyone.
Okay.
Okay. So correction to the name of the presenter. Let's start. So good day, everyone. I'm Francine Poblete from the Lyceum of the Philippines, University Manila, College of International Tourism and Hospitality Management. And I'd also like to acknowledge my co-authors, Ms. Plaza and Dr. Delova. Today, I will be presenting to you our paper entitled Philippine Pop as Potential Catalyst, Filipino Fans' Perception as a Basis for Tourism Promotion. So as the emergence of pop culture has made a huge impact, especially in opening opportunities for a country's tourism to prosper through increasing travel motivation among people, this study explores the different factors affecting the perception of Filipino fans about Philippine pop. Moving forward, in the current era, South Korea and other countries, especially in Asia, have been continuously developing and producing their own pop culture, including the formation of idol groups. As they took the lead, Pinoy pop or P-pop groups have been continuously growing in popularity and gradually took the interest and support of both the Filipino and international fans. However, as there is a limited research in the related field, this pioneering study aims to open opportunity to highlight the Philippine legacy and culture. Through the data gathered, the study proved that P-pop and its content play an important role to promote tourism and culture, and can motivate the fans to visit, experience, and explore the Philippines. So proceeding. The study aims the following objectives. First is to analyze the demographic profile of the respondents in terms of age, gender, region, and employment status. Second are the factors that affect the perception of fans on P-pop in terms of information source, time allocated, and social connectedness. Third is about the fans' level of agreement in terms of content, popularity, tourism promotion, cultural promotion, and travel motivation. Next, lastly, if there is a significant relationship between the factors affecting P-pop as potential catalysts in promoting tourism. Proceeding with the research scope, little did we know that P-pop groups had existed as early as 2009, but they failed to retain their popularity during that time. Then, a new era began when concepts and inspirations from K-pop were applied in the Philippine music industry. As it took the lead in showcasing their talents through music, P-pop groups were developed and continue to attract more fans worldwide. And with this, the researchers want to determine the potential of Philippine pop in promoting the tourism industry. Also, to narrow the gap among the studies by focusing more on the contributions of P-pop the same way as K-pop does to South Korea's tourism. For the study's methodology, the researchers employed a quantitative and descriptive research design survey method to identify the demographics and the various aspects influencing the perception of the 400 Filipino P-pop fans age 18 and up. The respondents were chosen using non-probability, purposive, and conta sampling procedure. It was based on a non-random criteria in which they don't have an equal chance to be selected to participate in the study. By administering the instrument through Google Forms, a pre-testing was conducted with 30 respondents to confirm that the content was valid, relevant, and that the respondents fully comprehended its content. On the other hand, the central tendency, including weighted mean, mode, and frequency distribution or percentage, together with the Cornbox Alpha, Kruskal-Wallis one-way ANOVA test, and Microsoft Excel were used to measure the collected data and analyze the accurate insights of the respondents, and this was done with the help of a credible statistician. Next, for the study's theoretical framework in which the figure shown is the physical, status and prestige, cultural and interpersonal motivation theory by McIntosh and Goldner. This talks about the 4 dimensions that motivate people to travel. First is the physical motivation, including a person's self-well-being. Then interpersonal motivation, or the urge to travel to be socially active. Next, cultural motivation, which refers to a person's desire to experience and learn other people's culture, place, tradition, music, art, and lifestyle. And lastly, status and prestige motivation, or the need of an individual for personal development. So moving on. In the conceptual framework, P-pop is subdivided into factors that influence fans' perception, such as information source pertaining to how fans acquire knowledge about the groups they support. Then, time spent or the fans' allotted effort in promoting the groups. And social connectedness, which addresses the relationship among the fans. On the other hand, content, popularity, tourism and cultural promotion, and travel motivation incorporate the effects on the perception of the fans. First is content, involving the impact of music, video, shows, and other products of P-pop in promoting tourism by featuring local destinations, transportation, food and beverage, and culture. Next, popularity, which refers to P-pop's impact in terms of audience reach or branding, and how it is significant in the tourism promotion. Then, pertaining to P-pop's ability to promote its tourism and culture. And lastly, travel motivation, which aims to determine the extent of how P-pop encourages the fans to travel. For the findings of the study, among the 400 respondents, the data showed that 129 or 32.25% were from National Capital Region or NCR. 343 or 85.75% were between the ages 18 and 25, 336 or 84% were females, and 303 or 75.75% were students. Also, social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and other networking sites rank first over advertisements and word of mouth as the most effective source of information about P-pop with a rating of 1.345. Specifically, Facebook, in which with 349 or 87.25% fans responded as the most accessible platform. It was also revealed that 154 fans spent at least 1 to 3 hours per day watching, streaming, and listening to their biased P-pop group or groups. And then, concert dominated among the other fan and group-related activities, in which 50.50% or 202 fans have already attended a concert, and at the same time, it is the activity that fans without any experience want to participate, gaining a 1.577 rating. On the other hand, fans strongly observe the following factors that are significant in promoting tourism. First is that P-pop content, including music videos, shows, vlogs, advertisements, and social media postings featuring local travel destinations in the Philippines like Boracay, Palawan, and Intramuros, then local transportation such as jeepney, kalesa, pedicab, and habal-habal. Also, groups featuring Filipino cuisines like sinigang and adobo, and culture and values including Philippine languages such as Tagalog, Bisaya, Cebuano, Waray, and Bicolano, and pagmamano and use of po and opo can affect their motivation to travel. Moreover, fans also strongly agreed to visit local tourist attractions and to participate in activities like hiking and water activities. The findings also revealed that fans agree that P-pop is popular in the country as demonstrated by its successful events and concerts. Furthermore, the one-way ANOVA and Kruskal-Wallis test was used to determine whether there is a significant relationship between factors such as content, popularity, tourism promotion, cultural promotion, and travel motivation. The difference between the F statistic and F critical resulted in the rejection of the null hypothesis. Thus, we, the researchers, assert that there is a significant relationship between the factors influencing P-pop as a catalyst in tourism promotion. For the summary and conclusion of the study, first, that most P-pop fans are from National Capital Region due to its large population and whose age 18 to 25, as they are legally permitted to attend different activities without parental consent. Females in particular are known to participate in a broader range of fan activities at a deeper level because they are more interested in attending concerts. And the respondents are mostly students as they have more time to support the idols, attend events, and communicate with their co-fans, which binds them to get deeper in patronizing the P-pop groups. Proceeding, the use of social media is an important aspect of pop culture, especially to the fans, due to its accessibility in terms of disseminating information about the P-pop groups. This bridges the connection between the fans, where they interact, especially this pandemic, that multiple groups emerged, which led to people in recognizing them. Furthermore, P-pop provides representation and exposure to the Philippines' local destination, transportation, food and beverage, and culture through its content, which is a way to give awareness and influence on the fans. Just like how SB19, a P-pop group, included jeepney or the symbol of transportation in the Philippines in their album Pagsibol, as per Madarang in her 2019 article. Moreover, according to Lamba 2021, fans want to know more about the group they idolize and not just about their music, since they are inspired seeing the idols' tradition and culture, which make them more hooked to their content. Putting the spotlight on the Filipino identity through music has been prevalent, just as how the groups SB19 and Alamat represent through their content. As fans are invested in the Philippine culture, the results specify that understanding tourist perceptions can benefit and promote the tourism industry and culture, influencing the fans' perception and travel motivation. Lastly, there is a significant relationship among the factors such as content, popularity, tourism and cultural promotion, and travel motivation that affect P-pop in being a catalyst to promote tourism. For our recommendation, future researchers may utilize this study as a reference to bridge the gap between the literature, focusing on pop culture, specifically the groups, and in promoting the tourism industry. For the universities to include P-pop concepts in the curriculum to honor the Philippines' culture and tradition. This will deepen the understanding about pop culture and in helping an individual to discover their potential and abilities for job opportunities. This would also benefit P-pop fans and their more involvement to related activities and works of the groups. This can make exposure on a global scale in which the P-pop group's success will also promote the tourism industry. Also, for the music industry in making a room for Philippine talents to be recognized. This will get larger support from fans by allowing them to grow locally and internationally. P-pop groups should also utilize social media in promoting their content to influence and inspire other artists to maximize their talents and capabilities. Then to local television networks as a form of advertisement of P-pop in the market, which can promote and reach fans who have limited access to social media that can still support the groups. Then for Philippine government to acknowledge the potential of P-pop in promoting tourism worldwide. With the help and support, promoting local destinations and culture of the Philippines will not be impossible. Ethnic groups can also integrate additional folk dances, different languages, traditional clothing and fabrics, and local items from diverse ethnic groups to be recognized for their authenticity. And lastly, for the tourism industry to market the cultural identity of the Philippines by incorporating them into the P-pop group's content, which will provide various information through promotional activities. So that will be all for our study. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any concern, you may reach us, the authors, through the email provided. Once again, I'm Francine Poblete from the Lyceum of the Philippines, University Manila. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much for the presentation, Ms. Delova, from Lyceum of the Philippines, University Manila. For the next presenter, we'd like to invite Diosdado L. Kabiling Jr. from Lyceum of the Philippines, University Manila. And the title of the presentation is Effectiveness of Social Media Platform in Promoting Tourism and Hospitality Industry in Manila City, a Proposed Marketing Strategy. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. For the correction, I will be the one to present.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
The floor is yours now.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Good afternoon to all the participants and attendees of Asia Pacific Consortium.
Can you speak a bit louder?
To begin with, good afternoon to all the participants and attendees of Asia Pacific Consortium Researchers and Educators 2022 Virtual International Conference. My name is Shalo Sarah Tending from CI Center of International Travel and Tourism Management, together with my co-author, Vanessa Oblanca, Ms. Jinker Villagracia, Ms. Samantha Elise Paradero, and Dr. Diosdado Kabiling. We are now presenting our research entitled Effectiveness of Social Media Platform in Promoting Tourism and Hospitality Industry in Manila City, a Proposed Marketing Strategy. For the research problem, we use social media platform become widely functional in this generation nowadays, especially in e-commerce business that was used as a promotional tool to market tourism and hospitality product. Therefore, the researchers aim to determine the level of effectiveness of different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube that can help promote the tourism and hospitality industry. We use convenient sampling method in collecting data from 359 students of LPU Manila, which is tourism student as our respondent because as a future employee, tourism students are more inclined with the travel and hospitality field of study. They can also be a tourist at the same time. So based on the findings of our study, the use of social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube are most effective in promoting tourism and hospitality industry. So as a result, a proposed marketing strategy of Facebook and YouTube has been designed to promote tourism and hospitality industry as marketing strategy for communicating and sharing promotional information. For the statement of the problem, question number 1, we include the demographic profile of the respondents, such as the age, gender, and location, for us to determine the different characteristics of population that we are using for our survey questionnaire. So in question number 2, we include the following social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube to identify the level of effectiveness in promoting tourism and hospitality industry. In question number 3, we want to know if there is a difference in the level of effectiveness of social media platform in terms of their demographic profile. In question number 4, we want to know how effective the social media platforms in terms of residing location of the respondent, because not all of the tourism students at Lyceum of the Philippines University Manila are residing here in Metro Manila, and not all of them are able to have the quality of internet connectivity due to their location. In question number 5, we want to know if there is a significant difference in terms of the location of the respondent when grouped according to their demographic profile. For the research methodology, we use descriptive method of study to know the characteristic of population, which is the tourism student that are considered representative of the entire group of college students at Lyceum of the Philippines University Manila. We use quantitative research to gather data because it collects information using sampling method. We, the researchers, use survey questionnaires in collecting the numerical analysis of data. So we also use convenience sampling method because it is non-probability sampling method where units are selected for inclusion in the sample, and it is easiest for us researchers to gather. So we also use the Likert scale in our survey questionnaire because it is used to measure the opinions, the attitude, or behavior which respondents can specify their level of agreement. For the combat alpha, we use this for our pre-testing to measure the internal consistency and reliability of the question in our survey questionnaire and to know how closely related the set of items are as a group. So we also use frequency percentage distribution because it is used by our statistician as a graphical illustration of data that displays the number of observation of each grouping of data point, the result of the survey questionnaire. We also use median as our descriptive statistical tool that is commonly used to characterize the data in the study and taking the numerical value occurring to the middle set of observation. The Mann-Whitney test is the formula that we use to calculate only two categorical independent group, which is the location and gender. And Kruskal-Wallis test is the formula that we use to extend the Mann-Whitney test to calculate more than two groups. In research finding, in research problem number 1, most of the respondent answer in our survey questionnaires are in the gender of female with the age range of 21 to 24 years old within the location of Manila. In research problem number 2, according to the findings, the interpretation of our data shows that most of the respondents' answers agree on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, which indicate fairly positive perception of the effectiveness in promoting tourism and hospitality industry. In research problem number 3, when grouped according to age, Facebook and Twitter have a significant difference, whereas Instagram and YouTube do not have a significant difference in the effectiveness of social media platforms as marketing strategy. So the majority of the respondents, when grouped according to their location, they do not have a significant difference in the level of effectiveness of social media platform. And the majority of the male and female because have different perception because so those social media have different way of engaging, interacting, and advertising their product to their potential customers. So in research problem number 4, so according to Manila and non-Manila city respondents, using median, Facebook and YouTube have the most effective social media platforms, while Instagram is moderately effective and Twitter is the least effective when promoting tourism and hospitality industry. In research problem number 5, when grouped according to their age, Facebook has a significant difference between Manila and non-Manila city respondents. That means they doesn't have the same perception in the level of effectiveness in promoting tourism and hospitality industry. While Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube do not have significant difference, that means they have almost the same perception when grouped according to age. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube in terms of location and gender doesn't have significant difference, which means they have almost the same perception whether your location are in Manila or outside Manila City, or in gender of male and female. For the conclusion, so we the researchers conclude that social media helps companies and businesses to reach out the potential target customers with the help of their demographic profile, which is the age, gender, and location. Facebook and YouTube have a significant impact on the success of the company or businesses, which can help gain popularity to attract more potential customers. Therefore, a proposed marketing strategy has been designed to promote the tourism and hospitality industry. For the proposed marketing strategy of Facebook, first is the free Facebook ads, because it provides the most exact target market, the cheap price. It is excellent for any small and startup business because you may advertise for as low as $1 per day. The second one is the user-friendly when engaging to the audience, because it enables tourism and hospitality business to bring the most convenient and more flexible website and promotion. The third one is the Facebook Messenger as a medium of communication in reaching out the potential customer. If they have inquiry about your product or service, you might encourage them to contact you through Messenger. And the fourth one is the post updates and shared content to freely post about their amazing deals and share an important announcement to keep your audience updated about your business. For the proposed marketing strategy in YouTube, utilizing YouTube ads, use of YouTube Video Builder, and use of audio library are video marketing that businesses can use in promoting their product and service. In utilizing YouTube ads, you can use discovery ads, non-skippable video ads, and bumper ads. So this type of ads is the best for traveling business who compete with other similar businesses, who wants to offer creative and new product to the target audience and to show brand vision to the customer. For YouTube Video Builder and Audio Library, this enables travel businesses to attract their consumers through showing their creativity in advertising. YouTube Video Builder enables businesses to use image, text, and logo with music to advertise a certain product and to achieve a brand objective. So through this, it can produce a quality video advertisement. And that's all for today. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Standing, for the presentation. Then we would like to invite the next presenter. Maria Crystal S. Perez from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City. The title of the presentation is Assessing Financial Literacy and Financial Performance of Bagay Government Center Microentities, a Correlational Study. Ms. Perez, the floor is yours.
May I know if the screen is now visible? If the presentation is visible?
Yes, just proceed, please.
Yes. A pleasant afternoon to everyone. I am Maria Crystal Perez from the Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City. Together with my co-authors, Ms. Manuel, Adra, Vicente, and Dunton, let me share with you the business research paper entitled Assessing Financial Literacy and Financial Performance of Bagay Government Center Microentities, a Correlational Study. First and foremost, let me give a brief overview before we dive into the technicalities. Financial literacy. Being financially literate has been constantly linked to being financially better off. Based on the study of Fong and others, the more financially savvy an individual is, the better he is at constructing financial decisions. Dosardi and Mitchell further explain that it's the individual's financial knowledge that prompts him to be better in savings, investment, and retirement planning. Whereas Singh and Kumar asserted that knowledge alone is not enough. Individuals must possess both the knowledge and skills to properly understand financial information and analyze which is a better decision. However, despite the number of studies carried out to evaluate the level of financial literacy in the Philippines, most assessments were concentrated on private individuals from various non-business related social groups. They were restricted to assessing financial literacy alone and failed to establish whether financial literacy affects financial performance. Given the foregoing, this research has looked and measured the level of financial literacy among apparel micro-entrepreneurs in terms of financial skills and financial knowledge, and determine the correlation to the financial performance of micro-entities. Take note that financial performance in this study was measured using the dimensions of liquidity, turnover, leverage, and profitability. Using Pearson's R, the significance of financial skills and the non-significance of financial knowledge were discovered. The research problem or objectives. Specifically, this study focused on assessing the financial literacy of Bagpi Garment Center micro-entrepreneurs in terms of financial skills and financial knowledge, and on ascertaining their relationship to the financial performance of microentities. Moving on to the methodologies. In line with the objectives, a correlational research design was employed to determine whether or not financial skills and financial knowledge significantly correlate with financial performance. Bagpi Garment Center, the center with the highest number of apparel sellers in Taytay Rizal, the garments capital of the Philippines, was selected to be the local of the study due to its competitive environment of wholesaling and retailing of ready-to-wear apparel. Why would they focus on wholesaling and retailing? This is because according to 2021 MSME statistics of DTI, more than half of the business establishments in the country belong to wholesale and retail trade industry. Furthermore, the respondents of this study were restricted only to owners of apparel microentities. For an enterprise to be considered micro, its total assets must not exceed 3 million pesos as per Magna Carta for MSMEs, and this research utilized a structured paper-based questionnaire. The questionnaire involved 10 financial skills statements adopted from the U.S. Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection's Financial Skill Scale, 8 financial knowledge questions from the OECD's Financial Literacy Core Questionnaire, and 12 composed financial performance statements relating to certain financial ratios. Before the actual data gathering, the questionnaire was validated by 2 certified public accountants, both of whom have master's degree in business. Afterward, it was translated into Filipino language for easy understanding and was later reviewed by a Filipino language expert. Subsequently, authorization was sought from the officials of Barangay San Juan, Taytay Rizal for the conduct of a pilot testing and an actual survey. Through the pilot testing, it was found that the questionnaire has established a Cronbach's alpha reliability coefficient value of 0.8481. This implies that the instrument's internal consistency is at a good level. After ensuring its trustworthiness, a permission letter was presented to the management of Bagpi Garment Center, which offered a favorable support to the research. During the actual data gathering, the respondents who gave their consent to participate in the study were initially informed of the research purpose, encouraged to provide honest answers, and advised to raise questions if there were any. In the stride to reduce sampling biases and errors, the study employed a systematic sampling technique. The questionnaire was accordingly distributed to every third microentity owner in the center. And eventually, the researchers retrieved the questionnaire from the participants for data analysis purposes. In analyzing the data gathered, frequency, percentage, mean, median, and Pearson product moment correlation coefficient were used. Proceeding to the findings. Through frequency and percentage, it was determined that out of the 283 surveyed apparel micro-entrepreneurs, the majority of the respondents were female, with ages ranging from 18 to 61 years old, high school graduates, had been running their micro-entities for more than 1 year to less than 5 years, and had been practicing formal micro-entrepreneurship. In terms of financial skills, most of the respondents describe themselves to be very well at making savings, which received the highest rating. However, they only portrayed themselves to be somewhat in recognizing good financial investment. Oftentimes, they knew when they needed financial advice and when they did not have sufficient information for making financial decisions. Yet, sometimes they struggled to understand financial information. Out of the 8 financial knowledge questions asked, the majority of the surveyed micro-entrepreneurs managed to get correct answers about risk and return, provided that it has the highest percentage. Meanwhile, less than half of them answered correctly in compound interest and time value of money. Among the 4 financial performance dimensions, the dimensions of liquidity gained the highest agreed rating from the micro-entrepreneur participants, whereas leverage dimension obtained the lowest rating. To define, the term liquidity refers to the ability of a microentity to pay its short-term debts or loans using its readily available cash, while the term leverage relates to how efficiently used are the debts and loans in financing a microentity. Meanwhile, turnover refers to how quick a microentity is in converting customer debts into cash, turning products into sales, and making payments to its creditors and lenders. Lastly, profitability is the ability of a microentity to generate income. Based on their financial skills score, most participants were found to possess a fair level of financial skills. Nevertheless, it should be mentioned that none of them were discovered to have very poor financial skills. In regard to financial knowledge scores, the majority demonstrated a good financial knowledge, whereas more than half of the microentities owned and operated by the participants were evaluated to be at a good financial performance level. In comparison, Gulliman examined 100 micro and small entrepreneurs from Iligan City, and they revealed a medium financial skills level when it comes to planning and budgeting, but performed a poor level in savings and record keeping. Meanwhile, Abaya and others investigated the financial literacy of 100 public school teachers in Cabanatuan City. They were disclosed to have moderate knowledge about savings, expenses, and investments. Furthermore, in Cruz and other study, most of the 50 surveyed MSMEs from Tuguegarao City were operating efficiently, as they know how to make the most out of their capital and prefer raising capital from personal money over outside lenders. Using persons R, this and the established level of significance, the study uncovered that there is a significant and moderate positive relationship between financial skills and financial performance. Meanwhile, an insignificant and very weak negative relationship was determined to exist between financial knowledge and financial performance. Comparatively, Dewi and his co-researchers gathered data from 194 millennial-age people in West Java, Indonesia, and discovered that financial skills significantly correlate with financial behavior, while Yahaya and others who adopted the same cognitive style of measuring financial knowledge found no correlation between financial knowledge and financial behavior, provided that financial behavior plays a mediating role toward financial performance as per Guzman and others, Singh and Menike. This could explain why financial skills significantly correlate with the latter, while the financial knowledge does not. Going forward to the conclusions and recommendations. As for the conclusions, based on the computed scores, most of them were endowed with a fair level of financial skills and equipped with a good level of financial knowledge. In exercising their financial skills, they do best in making savings, but most poorly understanding financial information. Meanwhile, they were most knowledgeable in risk and return, but least on the time value of money. Furthermore, more than half of the microentities were operating at a good level of financial performance, while the microentities greatly showed the ability to pay short-term debts and loans using readily available cash. The majority hardly took advantage of debts and loans in financing their businesses. In terms of correlation, the study uncovered that there is a significant relationship between the financial skills of micro-entrepreneurs and the financial performance of microentities. This implies that improving their financial skills boosts the financial performance of their enterprises, whereas financial knowledge showed no significance to the latter. It indicates that whether or not the level of financial knowledge of a micro-entrepreneur increases, the financial performance of his business remains unaffected. Accordingly, the authorities are encouraged to focus their efforts on enhancing the financial skills of micro-entrepreneurs. They should concentrate on educating the micro-entrepreneurs on how to find reliable and helpful financial information for decision-making purposes, how to filter relevant financial information from irrelevant ones, how to implement financial decisions, and how to adapt to financial challenges or opportunities. As to their current state in financial performance, it has been observed that there is a low performance in the debt ratio under the leverage dimension and inventory turnover under the turnover dimension. The authorities can consider conducting seminars discussing how to take advantage of loans when buying business resources without financially hurting the business, and how to understand the demand trends of products based on their product life cycle to avoid overstocking and understocking. Also, with the declining number of microentities reaching their 5th year of business operation, the study recommends that it will be a good practice for the authorities to regularly evaluate the financial performance of microentities until they reach their 5th year. This evaluation will determine if they are financially struggling with the liquidity, turnover, leverage, or profitability of their enterprise. Hence, the authorities will be informed on how they can financially assist the microentities to improve their viability. Other than that, this research has noticed a pattern of insignificance and financial knowledge among other students that also use cognitive questions in their research instrument. It is prescribed that future studies adopt a non-cognitive instrument for evaluating the financial knowledge of the respondents. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening. For any further question, you can reach us at our email presented on the screen. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Ms. Perez, for the presentation. And then let me present Von Ariel C. Morano from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City. And the title of the presentation is Competencies and Perceived Acumen of Accounting Staff in the Internal Control Effectiveness regarding Public Fund Management in Metro Manila City Hall, a correlational predictive study. Juan Ariel C. Morano, the floor is yours. Thank you.
To our session chair, Associate Professor and Dr. Indra Muis, to our facilitator, Sir Meckmack Nartea, fellow researchers, our distinguished guests and observers, good afternoon. I am Von Ariel C. Morano from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City Campus. I am very excited for weeks leading to this event. I am likewise thrilled for the chance to present the research we've been working on for over a year. Ladies and gentlemen, our research is entitled Competencies and Perceived Acumen of Accounting Staff in the Internal Control Effectiveness regarding Public Fund Management in Metro Manila City Halls, a correlational predictive study. I would like to acknowledge my fellow authors whose names are flashed on the screen. Dr. Angeles A. de Guzman, CPA, DBA, is our co-author who is likewise the Dean of the College of Business Education of our institution. Now, without further ado, let us proceed to the content proper of our study. Before we dwell into the research problem and objectives of our study, allow me to digest our research title first, piece by piece. Again, this is our title. Competencies is our first independent variable. This is defined in our study as the capability of an accounting professional to perform the duties that contribute to the transparent management of funds. Now, the second part of the title goes perceived acumen of accounting staff, etc. That is our second variable, independent variable rather. Now, you may be asking, acumen, what does that mean? Acumen is defined in our study as the keenness and depth of perception, typically in one's field of expertise. So, Mr. Von, are you saying that acumen is just another term for perception? Oh, well, exactly. But acumen applies only to those belonging to a specific field of expertise or profession. If you are an endocrinologist, you have an acumen regarding the use of insulin in the management of blood sugar. If you are a teacher, you have an acumen on the effectiveness of Socratic method in topic retention. If you are an accountant, especially as those directly involved with the procedure, you have an acumen relating to the effectiveness of internal controls as process owners. Please bear with me and our title. I know it's quite long. Now for the third part, regarding public fund management, is actually our dependent variable. But notice how the phrase regarding public fund management is the object of the second independent variable, perceived acumen of accounting staff. Now, before all of this become a little complicated, let us discuss first the meaning of internal control. Internal control is defined as the systems put in place to ensure the assets are being protected, financial reporting is followed, and laws are complied with. So internal controls are used to protect the assets. Now, different areas of the business have different internal controls intended for that process. For example, inventory. Let us imagine that you own a business that sells smartphones and your employee accidentally dropped one of the smartphones you are selling. In this case, let us assume iPhone 14 Pro Max, which costs around 100,000 pesos. Afraid of being reprimanded by their boss, which is you actually, they decided to hide the damaged iPhone 14 Pro Max, again costing 100,000. If you do not have an effective internal control in place, you will never know that part of your inventory is damaged and will never be sold. Now, to prevent this from happening, you must perform a routine physical inventory count. Ideally, this must be done at least once a year. But if you want to do it monthly, much better. Just remember the cost-benefit principle. All right? Now, if we are so concerned with safeguarding the assets of your business, shouldn't we be more concerned with safeguarding the asset of the government, which is theoretically our assets, because the government has assets thanks to your and everyone else paying taxes. Now, how can we protect the assets of the government? There are a lot of things being done to do just that, such as having a risk register and establishing a risk management committee, etc. I hope that the variables of this research are now clear. Now, in Metro Manila City Halls, that is the setting of our study. And at long last, correlational predictive is the methodology employed in this research. That was a long segue. Let's get back on track. So again, the research problem we want to solve. We wanted to identify the correlation, so the word correlational, of the first independent variable and the second independent variable with the dependent variable, but not so fast. We also wanted to know which among the variables can predict the level of management of public funds. The professional competencies, our independent variable 1, has 3 sub-variables: educational background, procedural knowledge, and technical proficiency. For the purpose of this study, we are going to abbreviate these variables, such as EB, PK, and PP. Our independent variable number 2 also comprises 3 sub-variables, which are control environment, risk assessment, and control activities. So when you see RA in this study, it's not Republic Act, but risk assessment. If you see CE, it's not civil engineering, but control environment. Given the scope of our study that covers all of the government city halls in Metro Manila, the researchers have encountered some difficulties. As we may all know, government entities have a very strict and stringent protocols when it comes to giving out information to outside parties. We are outside parties. We had to seek permission from the head of the accounting, city admin office, even sometimes the mayor's office, and other high-ranking city officials. But personally, the most difficult of them all was getting the accounting staff, which is our respondents, to participate in the survey. You know why? Because government accountants have a heavy workload, especially during the busy season or end of the month. Time is really of the essence for a government employee. Despite all the hardships, we successfully gathered all the necessary information to complete our study. Now look at the screen. We use a stratified sampling method. So the population is the number of accounting staff per city hall in Metro Manila. We got the number per city hall by asking their staff directly. So in Manila, we have 65 accounting staff, Quezon City, 200, so on and so forth. If you total that number, it totals 782. But Mr. Von, why is it that there are only 14 cities in the list? All right, Metro Manila comprises of 16 cities and 1 municipality. Pateros is intentionally excluded because it is not a city, but it is a municipality. So where is the other 2? The remaining 2 cities, which is Pasay and Navotas, refused to participate due to their busy schedule. To get the sample size, we use the Sloven's formula, and from that formula, we derive the equation 782 over 1 plus 782 multiplied by 5% raised to 2. Can you verify if that answer totals 265? Well, the exact answer is 264.6362, but we cannot fraction a person, can we? So 265. Now that we have the total number of respondents, we distributed it to each of the city halls. How? We use the formula here to identify the sample that may be distributed to each of the city halls. So from that formula, we derive the equation 65 over 782 times 265. So can any one of you verify if the sample size for Manila is 22? If you want to get the sample size for Quezon City, that would be 68. If you add all of that number, that totals 265. So step 1, we have to identify the total population. Step 2, identify the sample size. And then step 3, distribute the sample to each of the strata or city hall. So this is the computed table earlier. It is still on the right side of the screen. Now we are claiming that the context of the study is Metro Manila City Halls, right? How can we say that the setting of the study is the whole Metro Manila if the sampling distribution looks like the table on the left? Look at that. What if the number of respondents is concentrated entirely in Quezon City, Manila, and Las Piñas? The results will not be an excellent representation of Metro Manila because the number of respondents is not distributed. When conducting a study with multiple stratas, using the stratified sampling method is ideal because we can ascertain that specific subgroups are present in the sample, thereby making the results a reliable representation of the population. So the right table is not the way it is supposed to be done. Now, the validation of questionnaire and reliability testing, which took us 2 months to complete, will no longer be presented here because it will take up too much time. Just like what we talked about earlier, our study employs a correlational predictive research approach. A correlational research is non-experimental, meaning to say we do not manipulate any of the variables. We take and examine them as it is. In this study, we determine the relationship of the two independent variables with the dependent variable. If the independent variable increases, thus the level of dependent variable increases as well. If it is an increase relationship, therefore it is a positive correlation. But if the relationship is increase-decrease, then it is a negative correlation. All right. So now is the predictive research design. Here we want to forecast what among the variables has a significant impact on the dependent variable. So the 6 sub-variables of the 2 main independent variables will be assessed whether or not they are significant predictors of public fund management. In the decades-long study of cancer, we found out that family history, old age, tobacco use, alcohol consumption are all predictors of cancer diagnosis. But does it ever come to mind that we can also predict the level of management of public funds? And that is the alas of this study. All right, moving forward, and for the most exciting part, the findings. I will discuss the findings in this particular order. First is the description, second correlation, and ultimately the prediction. For the professional competencies of accounting department staff, the mean for each of EB, PK, and PP are 3.07, 2.77, and 2.96 respectively. The standard deviation are 0.36, 0.42, and 0.41. This implies a good competency level in reference to the scale. The respondents believed that having sufficient accounting background could help them perform their tasks effectively to detect, correct, and prevent non-conformances. They are also convinced that they are well-versed in preparing financial statements, which are crucial for transparency. All of these 3 have an acceptable dispersion, which also implies that accounting staff working in the local government are proficient in using the new government accounting system and other accounting software. Now, for the perceived acumen of accounting department staff, look at the screen, please. Among these 3 variables, control environment has the highest value with a mean of 3.11 and standard deviation of 0.38. Control activities and risk assessment followed. The results imply that the data has an acceptable variance. This signifies that the respondents strongly believe that internal controls do not just exist, but are also effective in serving its intended purpose. Now, for the current level of effectiveness of the management of public funds, we found out that public fund management in the National Capital Region or Metro Manila, what do you think? Has a good level of effectiveness with a mean of 3.07 and a standard deviation of 0.38. The responses of the accounting staff supported the notion that all of them are trained effectively in using an integrated financial management information system. There is also reasonable evidence that accurate financial reports are prepared on a timely basis and all disbursements are effectively controlled. The International Federation of Accountants in 2019 emphasized, which supports the findings of our study, that a strong public financial management is vital to the success and efficient delivery of public services, transparency, and citizens' trust in the government. Now, please pay close attention to the following slides because we'll now discuss the correlation and prediction. The results show that all 6 variables were positively correlated with the effectiveness of public fund management. The coefficient correlation, R scores for EB, PK, and PP were 0.33, 0.16, and 0.42 respectively. The independent variable 2 with its subvariables CE and RA both had an R score of 0.59 and CA had an R score of 0.66. This means that if the level of independent variable 1 and 2 increases, the dependent variable, which is the public fund management, will also increase. So Mr. Von, that's it. Of course, if professional competencies and internal control effectiveness increases, so does the level of management of public funds. That's obvious. There's nothing new about it. But again, not so fast. Let's go to the prediction. Our findings show that educational background and procedural knowledge, although positively correlated with the significant variables of public fund management, are not significant predictors of public fund management. While technical proficiency, control environment, risk assessment, and control activities are significant predictors of public fund management. Earlier, we talked about how certain things can significantly predict cancer diagnosis, right? But there can also be non-significant predictors such as study habits and water intake. Please do not be so serious about this. It's just an example. Similarly to management of public funds, educational background and procedural knowledge, even though they are positively correlated to the former, it turns out that they are non-significant predictors. And here is the amazing part. We are able to identify that these 4 significant predictors account for 70.80% of the effectiveness of public fund management, and only 29.20% is yet to be discovered. So imagine, we only now have to look for the remaining 29.20% because the 70.8% is now identified. That is a major discovery. There are a lot of findings of this study, but I only handpick what I believe are the most important in consideration of the limited time we were given. Now, if ever any of you are interested to learn more about our project, I will be more than happy to schedule an exclusive presentation for you. Now, at this point of our presentation, I will present to you the recommendations. Just like everything else, great things come to an end, including this presentation. Our recommendation is directed to, first is the government, and second is future researchers. If there is anyone here working for the government, I hope you can lend me some of your time to listen. For the government, since it is established that the 3 components of internal controls, which are again CARA and CE, are proven to contribute significantly to public fund management, 1 or 2 mishaps could result in billions of taxpayers' money. All right, I have 3 minutes left. Thank you. Therefore, the government must not diminish the growing importance of establishing internal controls. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you very much for Mr. Morano.
Oh, by the way, I would just like to reiterate that we should also take into consideration the researchers that we have to work on. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the presentation. Then for the next presentation, we will make it recorded. And the presentation will be from Jemuel G. Malalawan. Let me share the recorded video version to you all. All right, sped up. Okay.
So, good morning, everyone. Before I proceed with my paper presentation, I would like to say thank you to the Asia Pacific Consortiums of Researchers and Educators Incorporated for handling this 3 days research conference. Started last December 12 up to December 14. So to formally start the presentation, so let me present to you my screen. Okay, so the title of our study is The Impact of Liquidity to Profitability Among Small Enterprises in Lemery, Batangas. So I am Jimwell Gutierrez Malaluan, your presenter from the College of Accountancy, Business and Economics from Batangas State University, the National Engineering University, Batangas City. So as part of the research problems and objective of our study, the two most significant indicators of a company's health are the liquidity and profitability. That was according to Irawan and Paturoman last 2015. The capacity of an enterprise to meet short-term debt commitments without having to obtain external cash or take out loans is demonstrated by its liquidity. The capacity of an enterprise to meet short-term debt commitments without having to obtain external fund or take cash or take out loans is demonstrated by its liquidity. So a firm with strong liquidity may easily fulfill its short-term debt, but a company with a low liquidity is on the verge of collapse. On the other hand, profitability is a measure of company success or failure. It refers to company's capacity to earn a return on investment over a specified time period. We all know that when an environment catastrophe occurs, small firms are thought to be amongst the most susceptible. This natural calamity has a potential to harm and disrupt the supply chain networks. Furthermore, it can harm the small scale assets, premises, and stocks, as well as the disrupt corporate or enterprise operations and transactions. Along this, with facts and observations, the researcher pursued the study to analyze the impact of liquidity management on the profitability of the small-scale enterprises, particularly on those who were affected, most especially in our location here at Lemery, Batangas. So I would like to show you a photos that showing the Taal volcano eruptions that 2020 and of course the pandemic, which also occurred the same year, I mean 2020. Here in Batangas, we are very affected by these two environmental crisis, and like what I have mentioned a while ago, the small enterprises are also affected by those environmental crisis. Majority of the business affected by the pandemic and Taal volcano eruptions were not similarly situated. They are mostly small enterprises that are mom and pop type of marginally capitalized. The researcher found out that many businesses face a lot of liquidity and profitability problems because of the physical and environmental damages brought by these two environmental crises. As a result, many businesses shut down due to incapability to continue their operations. So as part of the background of the study, the purpose of the research was to analyze the impact of liquidity management on the profitability of the disaster-affected small-scale enterprises in Lemery, Batangas. The Taal volcano eruptions and COVID-19 pandemic, which started last 2020, left a huge impact on the businesses. Provincial lockdown was implemented, and which led to closures of the businesses within that municipality. So in line with this research has a great importance because sudden disruptions of the operations of the small enterprises affects their liquidity management, at the same time, its profitability. The objective of the study were the following. First, we need to assess the business liquidity management in terms of the current ratio, cash ratio, and the quick ratio. So these three dimensions are the compositions of what we call the liquidity management. Second, to assess the business profitability in terms of the return on assets and return on equity. Then the third one, to determine the relationship of the aforementioned variables. And lastly, we, as a researchers, we need to propose a recommendation plan for the small scale enterprises in line with their liquidity and of course with the profitability. So moving forward, when it comes to the research methodology that was being used, so this study was conducted in, of course, in Lemery, Batangas, one of the municipality that was basically affected by the Taal volcano eruptions and the COVID-19 pandemics last 2020. So this study utilized the descriptive research design, um, since it aims to systematically describe a liquidity management and profitability among the small-scale enterprises in said location. The researchers also distributed a survey questionnaire to 111 small-scale enterprise owners, and we also utilized the simple random sampling techniques. And after we gathered the data, we encoded it on an encoding sheet. And of course, we assessed those results using the weighted mean and the Pearson's R correlations. So these are the research findings. So I would like to show you the summary of the composite mean. This table shows the summary of composite mean, wherein we are going to see here the variables under the liquidity management, and of course the composite mean and the verbal interpretations. This table shows the summary of composite mean of liquidity and profitability. It is essential to know the status of the current assets of small-scale enterprises since it is used in everyday operations addressing current liabilities of the firm. This helped the researchers to know the liquidity of the businesses in terms of how they utilize and maintain a good level of current assets in covering their current liabilities during the environmental crisis. On the other hand, profitability in terms of the return on assets and of course the return on equity were used as a variables to see if the business has the ability to produce a return on investment based on its resource in comparison with alternative investment. So as you will notice, for the liquidity management, the composite mean of 3.08 indicates that these small-scale enterprises, since they are our respondents, manage all the statements indicated in the current ratio. So the respondents managed to provide the wages and the salaries to their employees. They also managed to maintain their current assets at a high level during the height of the environmental crisis. And of course, they were able to manage their operating expenses. Next one, the composite mean of cash ratio of the composite mean of 3.13 indicates that the respondents manage all the given statements indicated in the current ratio. So results shows that these respondents were able to manage cash equivalents that can be used in paying immediate liquidities or liabilities. Then the composite mean of the quick ratio for 2.74 indicates that the respondents manage all the statements and they manage to pay current liabilities on time. They manage to have a high amount of quick asset, and they were able to have a quick ratio that is greater than 1. In terms of the profitability, so the composite mean of 3.30 indicates that the small-scale enterprises manage the implementations of the good management of assets that technically generates profit. The small-scale enterprise owners manage the process of their inventory on a periodic basis, and they were able to maintain the utilizations of the current assets to generate wealth. Further, the composite mean of the return on equity indicates that the small scale enterprises in Lemery, Batangas were able to manage and effectively utilize the shareholders' capital to generate income and possess good risk management qualities. And they were also able to maintain the capital in good positions, and they were also maintain a low liabilities and obtain a high return on equity despite the environmental crisis happen. So next one, I would like to show you the relationship since we utilize the Pearson's R correlation. So let me show you the table showing the relationship between the liquidity management and profitability among small-scale enterprises in relation to current to return on assets. Sorry. So in terms of liquidity, only the current ratio and cash ratio has a positive relationship with the return on asset. That is why we, as the researchers, reject the hypothesis, and it seems to have a significant relationship. And the second one is the relationship between liquidity management and profitability among small-scale enterprises in relation to return on equity. So it also shows that the liquidity management in terms of current ratio and cash ratio only possess a strong positive relationship with the return on equity. That is why we as the researcher rejected the hypothesis. And it seems that this liquidity management in relation to current ratio and cash ratio has a significant relationship with the return on equity. For the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, so here the researchers have drawn the following conclusions and recommendations based on the results and the findings of the study. So the first one is, despite the fact that the economic situations of the municipality of Lemery, Batangas was now on its way to fully recover, still 50% of the small-scale enterprises, based on our reports within that locations, still experience liquidity and profitability problems. We observed that here in our place in Lemery, Batangas, even though the lockdowns was lifted, even though the health protocols was also lifted, still there are some of the small enterprises that are not yet recovered. The second one, the researchers suggested that the small-scale enterprises owners may provide multiple payment methods for their clients and customers. So this suggestion was based on the lowest weighted mean result during our data analysis. So number three, they may secure their assets by having a business insurance policy, and of course to continue maintaining the low level of liabilities. And the last one, the local government unit of Lemery, Batangas may conduct seminars, training programs with the assistance of the Batangas State University, the National Engineering University, as well as the Business Permit and Licensing Office, or the BPLO, and the Department of Trade and Industry, in line with the importance of liquidity management and profitability during the unexpected times of the disaster. So that's end our presentation. So if you have a lot of questions, you may contact us on our contact details presented on your screen. So by the way, I'm once again, I am Jimwell Malaluan from the Philippines, and we are the representative from the Batangas State University, the National Engineering University. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malaluan from Batangas State University, for the recorded presentation session. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there were 11 presenters already performed for today. Then it's our session, our QA session, question and answer. So you may raise your hand by use the emoticon reaction. Then I would like to invite you to ask question. And for Prof. Mac, be ready for the question as a backup. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have question, please just raise your hand using the reaction. Mr. Mac, would you like to say something? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Indra. First, we congratulate our presenters for a job well done presentation. Your topics are very unique and those are novels. No. But before I ask my questions, I will entertain first or read first the questions in our chat box. The first question came from Miss Everly Chua for the presenter of outcome-based learning module. I quote, based on my understanding, outcome-based education focus on the attainment of the target course's learning outcomes in form of assessments, as indicated in the learning plan, such as exercise, sit works, case studies, and the likes. Your research aimed to assess the effectiveness of the outcome-based learning modules. Do you have a criteria on the instruments used in the study that evaluates the applicability of assessments given per topic? And how is the learning modules able to assess or measure the effectiveness or the attainment of the learning outcomes? I repeat the question. Do you have a criteria on the instrument used in the study that evaluates the applicability of the assessments given per topic? And how is the learning modules able to assess or measure the effectiveness or the attainment of the learning outcomes? Dr. Inarda, can
Yes.
you answer? Thank you.
Once again, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for the question. Yes, that's right. Okay, so what has been said a while ago is right about outcomes-based education. It's more on looking into the assessment that you are going to use in order to know whether the competencies are learned. All the assessment or exercises that are included at the end of each modules, okay, underwent item analysis. There are variations of exercises, multiple choices, case analysis, and the assessment is based on the examination that is given or the test that is given. Just like when it is a case study, I have rubrics, okay, that is used on the learning assessment. If it's a multiple choice, all of those activities underwent item analysis. And surely, all the assessments that are given at the end of each module are the contents of the module, of the specific modules.
All right. So, Ms. Chua, do you have additional questions for that? I think actually, it's a good thing, ma'am, that you presented the criteria and the likes. No, may we or can we request some of the assessment criteria or parameters used in your study, or how we can reach you through your email, right? In order
Yes,
for us
sir.
to get the assessment.
Assessment materials.
All right. So thank you for that, Dr.
Thank
Inarda.
you. Thank
The
you po.
second question is for Mr. Von Morano. How do you define effective public fund management in the context of your study? How are you able to describe, or what are the identifiers to measure it? I repeat, how do you define effective public fund management in the context of your study? How are you able to describe, or what are the identifiers to measure it? Mr. Von? Mr. Morano? All right. While waiting for the answer of Mr. Morano, let me proceed to the question for the first presenter. Madam, what would be the role of the government and the academe in promoting cooperative literacy? I repeat, for the first presenter, what would be the role of the government and academe in promoting cooperative literacy? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the question, Sir Meckmack. The role of the government and also the state university and colleges is to include in their extension programs the cooperative education to the nearby communities in their in that particular organization. Actually, here in ASIS, we plan to this study would also be our basis for our extension activities, so that these farmers and other stakeholders would be informed regarding the benefits of the cooperative membership. We will include that in our extension plan, sir, program.
All right.
Sorry for the earlier. I was having troubles with my microphone. I couldn't open it.
All right.
Sorry, I wasn't able to answer. Sorry, can you repeat the question for me? All
right. Before I throw the question, let me respond to the answer of Ms. Balinget. Actually, it's a good thing that your research shows that there is a deficiency between our farmers. No, we have a lot of farmlands. However, our farmers is lacking. So it's a good research that we can also check in the area of cooperative literacy in order for us to support our local farmers. So the role of the government and academe is really significant in order for us to boost the agricultural industry in our country. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Balinget. For the question to Mr. Vaughn, the question was, how do you define effective public fund management in the context of your study? And how are you able to describe, or what are the identifiers to measure it?
All right, sir. So we measured the identifiers or the effectiveness of management of public funds using an adapted questionnaire from the COSO internal framework. It's the International Organization of Internal Auditors. So it's a 3-page questionnaire that's validated by our statistician. One of the questions, I believe, if I remember correctly, is whether or not the accounting department effectively controls all of those incoming and outgoing expenditures or disbursements. Another thing that we measured is the financial regulations, with whether or not it's being implemented effectively in the management of city of funds. Another is, what do you call this? The financial regulations and its contributions to transparency. Another thing that we considered is that whether or not the accounting department ensures the involvement of all in financial decision making. When it comes to the complexities of the statistician, I believe it is not in my authority to discuss that, because it is beyond my field of expertise. That's the reason why we outsource an external help of a statistician. So if we are going to talk about the jargons when it comes to statistics, I cannot help you any further. Thank you.
All right. But Mr. Vaughn, you can share the instrument with us, right?
Yes,
they
I can
contact
certainly
you.
can.
All right. All they need to do is to contact you, right?
Yes. You may search me in LinkedIn and other social networking sites such as Facebook. You can also contact me via email. My email is morano.bonariel@gmail.com. Thank you, Sir Meckmack.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Morano. All right. To give way to our closing and recognition ceremony, let us end our Q&A for today, and let me pass the virtual floor to Dr. Inarda for the awarding of the certificates. Dr. Indra.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Meg. Let me share a slide first. Okay. So wait up. Right, ladies and gentlemen, now we come to the awarding of certificate for recognition for all presenters. There were 11 presenters performed today. Then it's time for us to award with the certificates. Right, the first certificate goes to K.N. Mary P. Balingit. I think Prof. Meg, would you like to screenshot this one, please? Then you may give applause.
Okay, let me read the citation first.
Okay.
The certificate of presentation given to K. Anne Marie P. Balingit from Abra State University of Social Science and Technology, entitled Farmers' Perception on Cooperative Membership Case Study in Langilan, Abra, for virtually presenting her commendable, innovative, and worthy of note research findings during the APCORE 2022 International Virtual Conference with the theme Hybridity in the New Reality, Sustainable Research, Inclusive Pedagogical Spaces and Practices, held on 12 to 14th of December 2022 via Zoom event, given this 14th day of December 2022, signed by Dr. Vera Nut Nesapatorn, Conference Chair, also signed by Dr. Muhammad Alani Muhammad Benur, the APCORE Chairman, and Dr. Witawat Jangyam, APCORE Executive Director. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, same text goes to Miss Ginavi Padapula. Congratulations, ma'am. Same text also is awarded to Dr. Annalyn V. Inarda. Congratulations, ma'am. Same text for Miss Josefa Angelica P. Kabuwang. Congratulations. Same text for Alani Zainal Abedin Linga. Congratulations, sir. Same text for Jocelyn Kamalig. Congratulations, ma'am. Same text for Miss Rovelina Deliova. Congratulations. Same text for Mr. Diosdado L. Cabiling Jr. Congratulations, sir. Same text for Miss Maria Cristel S. Perez. Congratulations, ma'am. And same text for Mr. Von Ariel Morano. Congratulations, sir. And for same text for Mr. Jemuel G. Malaluan. Congratulations, everyone.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us for photo opportunity session. Please try to make your cam on, then we can take your photo together. All right. Okay. Wait up. Okay. Camera on. Sorry. Gallery, immerse gallery. Okay, so this is the first slides and the first photo. There are 2 photos taken. The first one, everyone, please make your camera on. Right. Okay. Just wait up. Wait up. Okay. And this is for the second one. Right. Right. Okay, everyone, this is the end of our session. Prof. Mac, would you like to say something? Congratulations for everyone.
Congratulations, everyone, for a job well done, and see you in the next APCORE conference.
Okay. On behalf of APCORE, I'm Dr. Indra Muis and Prof. Mac. We'd like to say congratulations to everyone. Hope that we can meet again in other occasions. Prof. Mac, would you like to say first before you leave?